What's up, guys, and welcome back to my live stream. So this is going to be recorded live. I'm going to be interacting with the audience. The goal for today is interact with the audience. We're going to try to compile a list of all of the gaming laptops for 2023 and rank them. This is going to be a multi-live stream series. So I don't think we'll be able to get it all done today. It's going to be something that we're going to do for a while. So this is something that I did in 2021. I made a detailed long list with tons of benchmarks and lots of data. And my goal is to recreate this list with all of the new laptops for 2023. Now, this is going to be a long process. I know it's going to be a long process, and I don't mind. It's the kind of thing that is rewarding for me in a lot of ways because it's very helpful for everybody. And that's my goal with my channel, to be as helpful as possible. That's how I'm going to try to make a living. So what's up, Jojo? So already people are hopping into the live stream. 11 people on instantly. This is awesome. Thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. So the format for today, let me just go over the format. So I've got a few different questions. We got to figure out how we're going to host the the list, right? So I have a poll up on my community tab of the Gizmo Slip Tech channel. So right over here, I've got a poll right now asking for feedback on how you guys want to see this list in 2023. I started it initially using Google Sheets, and you can see the Google Sheets version right here. And this had links with hyperlinks and lots of data. It was easily sortable, easily filterable. But like, for example, you can't read all of this text. I write a mini review about it. You can't read it very easily unless you double click it or something. You know, it's more of a hassle to use this format in some ways, but in other ways it's easier. So there's pros and cons with using Google Sheets. I loved that it was very responsive and easy to input data and update. I loved that. Now, at the end of 2021 and into 2022, I switched over to Listium, which let me switch over to like a more comprehensive view, I guess you could say, and you could filter this more easily with these you could like filter by different Cinebench or TimeSpy. Like if you wanted to at least get 8,000 TimeSpy, you could get a laptop with at least 8,000 TimeSpy. You could filter by price more easily. You could do these things before, but it wasn't quite as intuitive. That said, the interface with Listium is not as responsive as Google Sheets, so it takes longer to input data and do like mass changes and stuff like that. It's still possible to do those things. It's still possible to make the list happen. It just takes more time. Now, the list also had some cool features like I could do let me show you a few different examples. Like you could filter it down to like laptops with an RTX 3060 between $800 and $1,200. And then it would show you just those laptops, and you could do side-by-side comparisons and even look at the stats side-by-side next to each other. And then of course there's links both on this list and this list on where you can actually buy the laptops. And I try to put as many as I can in here. Now, the question I have in this survey is, what do you guys like to see for 2023? Would you like to see me go back to using Google Sheets, which I think a lot of people are very familiar with? It's very easy to use, very easy for me to update and maintain. And then, or do you want me to go back to Listium, which has some of those more advanced features, like being able to do a multi-filter search and having like the images of the laptops right there in the middle of the thing here. Let me show you another example. You could bust out these, so you could bust out a like whole thumbnail or a whole page just on the laptop, and you could read through my little mini review that I wrote about it. Easily go to where I got the benchmarks from, and then you'd still have the links down here at the bottom as well. So this was pretty cool. It was just, like I said, it's a little bit harder to use, not a very intuitive website necessarily. In some ways, I think they're still improving it. They're still working on it. I'm in contact with the guy that created this website, and he's even added some special features just for my list to make it more user friendly. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys want for 2023. I've linked both my old Google Sheets and my Listium old Listium list in the video description down below, so you can go check it out, as well as this poll. So I would really like to hear your guys' feedback on what you want. So, all right, I'm hopping back over to chat now. What's up, Andrew, Ezra, friends? Martin says, I'm eager to buy the ROG Strix 18. Can you tell me what day it will be available? So Martin Gonzalez, the part of this list is availability, because my goal with the list is to be able to include as many places where you can buy the laptops. So, you know, for example, you may really want a SCAR 18, right? But maybe you can buy it from, you know, Best Buy. You might be able to buy it from Asus.com. You might be able to buy it on eBay. You might be able to buy it in a bunch of different places. And my goal with the list is to have like, oh, here's the 5 places I've found where you can possibly buy this laptop. And then you'd be able to click those links. Some of those links would be affiliated and help support me as a creator. Some of them won't be, though. But the goal is to be able to connect gamers to the laptop they want. That's a big part of it. And like I said, that's a big, I guess, that is probably updating the list and where you actually buy the stuff constantly is so much work. So like I used to go through the list every day, and it took me probably 2 to 3 hours of checking all the prices. I would update the prices, I'd update availability, whether it's in stock or not in stock, stuff like that. And I need to hire someone to help me do it, basically, this time. Like I'll set up the list, I'll put my data in there, and then for checking stock, I'm going to try to get someone to basically do a data entry for me so I don't have to do it all myself all the time. So anyway, okay. Back to the chat. Did it just get started? What's up, Mark? Yeah, we're just getting started. What's up, Rocket Man? Aquatic Dawn. I'd trade a 4090 desktop for a 4090 laptop. Whoever wants it, let me know. IZ. Would you choose the Razer 16 over the Scar 16 or M16? So that's a great question, Ezra. Razer 16, Scar 16, M16. Out of those 3, if you want the most performance, I'm thinking the Scar 16 is probably the way to go. I don't know what all of the specs are for the M16, but I think I would choose Scar 16. The Razer 16 is really attractive, but you don't get a QHD with mini LED, and I prefer a QHD 240 Hz rather than their 4K 120 Hz. Or, you know, it's a dual native display, so you can go 1080p 240 Hz as well. But again, I would just rather have QHD all around. That's a better middle ground, in my opinion. So Genesis says, hello, thank you for making this. Please add ROG Zephyrus Duo 16 somewhere in there. Okay, yeah, I will. So let's go ahead and let's start looking at the actual list I've compiled for the new laptops for 2023. And I'm going to also share that list in the video description so you guys can get on the page and look at me or look at what I'm doing on it. And I've got 4 different things that we can start rating the laptops as or with, you know. So these aren't going to be conclusive, and they're not going to be as accurate as they will be once we have the laptops and we do full tests on them. This is kind of like first impressions ratings, because I got to see most of the laptops in person at CES, but not all of them. So at least the ones I saw in person, I'll be able to kind of give at least a bit of a rating to. Okay, so let me pull up the chat on my phone as well so I don't have to Alt-Tab all the time. Let me go to here and then here. Sweet. Okay, now I got the chat as well. All right. All right, so you guys can see this. Someone wanted me to add the Duo 16, which I don't believe I have on this list yet. And I'm going to share this link in chat here in a moment. Let me just add that real quick. So I'm trying to keep them kind of like grouped by brand right now. Duo 16. Okay. And I'm also thinking of trying to add the basic stats into this list as we go along. So that'll mean like the GPU, what GPU, at least the top spec GPU, and what CPU, and then what's the resolution, like what's the best resolution, because some of them have like six different displays that you can get with the laptop. Most of them only have like one or two, but we're going to try to do the main resolution that you're probably going to want to buy it with. And then I guess probably we don't have RAM or SSD slots, but maybe like the number of M.2s and SODIMM slots or soldered RAM, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me check chat real quick. All right, is there a difference? Oh, I'm going to share this series sheet as well. So let me go ahead and share it. We're going to do anyone with the link. All right, and we're going to share this link. All right, and let me go ahead and drop this into chat. Now, I'd recommend pulling up the spreadsheet on another screen. So if you're looking at your phone for the live stream, pull it up on your computer or vice versa, because you're not going to really be able to watch the live stream and look at the sheet at the same time. So I just dropped it in there. I'm also going to add it to the video description. New 2023 lists. Gaming laptop ranked list. Let's go. Okay. All right. So it's in the video description now. And let's go ahead and get going on here. Okay. So a bunch of y'all are already into the list. That's sweet. All right, so Asus Flow X13. And what do you guys think about the categories as well? So I've got build quality. That's kind of like build material, like rigidity, like how long I think the computer will last of daily use. Thermal design, like how well is the laptop cooled for its size. And then also display. So let me go ahead and switch it so you can see the list. There we go. Okay, so here's the full list of the laptops so far for 2023. And there's a few missing here that I know are missing. I know we have some HP models that are missing. I know we have some Dell G series models that are not on this list. I've also added in column F and G, I've put an X if I've already made a video about that laptop. I'm actually going to include a link to that laptop. Maybe I'll probably do that later off of the live stream, but I'll start putting links to the video so you can like see the laptop on the list and then go click a video and watch the video. So sweet. So Flow X13. What do you guys think about the Flow X13's build quality? I feel like the Flow X13 is really well built. In the time that I've had it and used it, it's been really nice. I would give it, we're going to go out of 10. We're just going to give it, I'm going to give it an 8 because I don't think it's as best it could possibly get. For thermal design, for its size, I think it's a 10 out of 10. It's really well designed thermally. The display quality this year is much better than in the past. So let's go ahead and pull up the Flow X13. So you guys also get a better idea of what laptop we're talking about. There we go. So this is the Flow X13. It's a 2-in-1 flippable screen, and it hooks up to an XG Mobile, and so you can get it up to an RTX 4090 with an eGPU, which doubles as the power adapter. Now, the biggest thing they've upgraded this year on it is the display. The display is so much better than in previous years. So there we go. So it's a QHD 165 hertz. The CPU this year, let's just pop over the technical specs so we can do a brief overview. The CPU this year is the 7940HS, which is an 8-core 16-thread, which comes with Radeon Graphics 780M. That's like the base. So if you don't want a NVIDIA GPU, you'll be able to get it with just the built-in integrated graphics. And especially that would make sense, especially if you're going to get like the XG Mobile and you're planning to just take the XG Mobile with you all the time, or you're not going to need to game when you're away from the XG Mobile. So you can get up to an RTX 4070. It's a 4050, 4060, or 4070, and it's 60 watts with 45 plus 15 dynamic boost. Okay, so it's not a high power GPU, but I'm I'm pretty confident a 4070, even at 60 watts, is going to be able to play QHD games pretty well. Okay. So display quality this year, since it's a QHD 165 hertz with a fast response time, according to Asus, I'm thinking it's going to be. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think the only way it could get better is probably if it had like 1,000 nits display. Like that's like now the new 10 out of 10. Value. So value per column, like this value, high value dollar sign. This basically means like, are you getting a great bang for the buck out of this machine? And I don't think you are with the X13. Not like, you know, you're paying a premium basically for the portability. So you're not getting like a high level of performance for the money. You're not getting, you know, you're paying extra so that you can have something really small and a multifunctional device. So I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. All right, Flow X13. I did get my hands on with the Flow X13. Let's pull that up. Sorry, X16, Flow X16. I don't know if they're gonna have. Okay, they have a do it page. Good. All right, so the Flow X16, I did never get my hands on it before, but at CES I did film a hands-on video, so that's coming up. This year, I believe they've updated the display to be better. We've got a mini LED on this, up to 1100 nits, 240 hertz, and it is a QHD, I believe, is the resolution. Let's go to the tech specs. And I also want to check the performance. So up to a 4070 with an i9-13900H. And it's very thin. Again, you're going to be paying quite a bit premium for the Flow X13. So, you know, it's kind of up to you if you think it's worth it. But at least it's going up to 120 watts of power in something so thin. That's pretty impressive. So build quality, I'm going to give it an 8 again. Thermal design, I think, is a 10. Display quality, this time it's a 10. It's a perfect 10. I haven't had it in person, the new one, but those specs are absolutely insane. So these are all based basically on the specs and my hands-on with it. So high value, again, I'm sure this thing is going to be real expensive. Really expensive. So let's also start putting the stats in here. So we got a Ryzen 9 7940 HS and an RTX 4070 for the Flow X13. Let's just double check. Yeah, 4070, and it's a 60 watt part. And we got QHD 165 hertz. What's let's see here. What else do we want to put in here? Yeah, and the other thing is the Flow X13 has advanced Optimus with a mux switch this year. That's also going to boost performance compared to previous generations with G-Sync/Adaptive Sync. So that's impressive. Like Asus has really done a good job improving the quality. It should be at least 500 nits because it's a Nebula display. That's Asus's minimum. Is 500 nits is what a Nebula display means. Let me just check chat in case I'm missing anything. Okay. MSI GE78 or Strix Scar 18. I've got to go Scar 18 if I'm picking between those two because of the 16:10 display. Consumer Tech Warehouse. I got a Flow X16 box last night. Hopefully Advanced Optimus works well this year. Hasn't worked well in the past. Yeah, I hope so as well. So the Flow X16, we've got up to a 4070 120 watt. What's the CPU on this? i9-13900H. And then our display is a QHD 240 hertz, 1100 nits. So that should be basically the same display as the Scar 16. So that's fantastic. All right. So we've got the Flow Z13 next. Price for the Asus Strix Scar 18. How much do you think? Yikes. I don't know. It depends on what spec you're going to get. It's going to go up and down in the specs a lot. Because I believe this, we'll get to the Scar 18, but it's going to be a wide range. So if you get it with like a 40, like it's only a 4080 or 4090. Okay. You have to go to the Strix G18 if you want to get the cheaper GPUs. So starting with an RTX 4080 with a 500 nits QHD 240 hertz display and an i9 13980HX. So it's only two options they're offering. I got to imagine this one with the 4080 is probably going to be, I'm guessing 4,000, give or take 300. And then this one will probably be 4,500, 4,800 maybe, give or take 400. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly. Asus hasn't given us any of the pricing. We're going to go over all of MSI's pricing. I mean, you can briefly see it here if you guys want. I'll just hold it on this for a second. And then I'll drop down. You can see what the Stealth 17 pricing is. And then Stealth 15, Pulse 15. So they do have the GF63 thin this year. I noticed that in here. I thought they were discontinuing it and replacing it with a Cyborg, but they're still going to be selling it at least. But yeah, so that's the pricing. You see there's quite a few laptops from MSI this year that'll be under 2,000, which is great to see. It's just almost all of their high-end stuff is very expensive. So the cheapest RTX 4080 I'm seeing right here, GE78 is 3,000 starting price. So maybe the Scar 18 is going to be that low. I don't know. That's, when you're looking at these prices, it's pretty incredible how much laptops have gone up, but also not gone up. It's weird. It's like if you look at the price of an MSI GT77 from like 6 years ago, back when I bought it, I paid like over $4,500 for my GT77 6 years ago. And when you factor inflation in with the price increases, I actually paid more back then for the GT77 or GT72 back then than I would now with the GT77 because of inflation has gone crazy in the same amount of period, and the price actually didn't go up that much. It only went up $700 for the top of the line GT77. So basically, I bought this equivalent 6 years ago. So I don't know. The mid-range pricing honestly hasn't gone up that much either. I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of my impression right now. I know that a lot of people are thinking these new laptops are just insane, but they don't seem that insane to me. Like this pricing, the Pulse 15, you get an RTX 4070 for $1,649. I mean, really, that's equal to an RTX 3060 from last year in terms of tiering of the GPU. But that's not terrible. That's all I'm saying. I actually really like the Pulse 15 $1499 one here. It's a QHD, 100% DCI-P3, and I think 240 hertz. Let's see. No, maybe it's 165 hertz. They have conflicting information, but it's at least, it's a DCI-P3 color, 100% color gamut, 165 hertz, and it's supposed to only be for $1499. That's crazy good in my opinion. Not crazy good, but at least good. Good enough to not be a terrible deal. And that's 140 watt, by the way. So we're going to get to that. Flow Z13. We were in the middle of pulling this up. Let's take a look at the specs for the Flow Z13. So this is the X13. We need Z13. Brett Allen, thanks so much for the super chat, dude. What will be replacing the XMG Ultra? That is a good question. I'm not sure. I haven't heard of any desktop socketed CPU laptops for 2023 so far. We gotta go 4060. And there it is. Okay. All right. So Flow Z13. This is a tablet with detachable keyboard. And it goes up to an i9-13900H, 16 by 10, QHD 165 hertz. And again, you can get the XG Mobile with it. So that's pretty freaking awesome. And this is basically like kind of like a bit of a thicker, fatter tablet that's a full-on high-powered PC, which is pretty freaking cool. So we got an i9 13900H RTX 4060 with, I believe, 65 watts of power, QHD 165 hertz, 500 nits. So build quality, I mean, it felt good, but I'm going to give it a 7. Thermal design, I think it's a 10. Display quality is a 9 again. Value, we'll have to see, but I'm predicting like a middle ground value for that one as well. Can you please send the link for pricing for MSI laptop? I can't, MJM, because that's not my thing to be able to share with you guys. Sorry. I can let you see it, images of it, but it's not my document. I don't own the permissions on the document. So Zephyrus. Let me also go ahead and just link this so everyone can click these and go to them. We'll do, I'm just going to name this link. There should be a link button. All right. Scar 18, let's go and do that one. Flow X16. Let's do that one. All right, Flow X13. Pop that into here. So let me know if you guys have any more questions. I'll check chat as well. The prices pre-listed on Overclockers UK are unbelievable. Something like 4,500 for the MSI Titan. Well, the MSI Titan is the highest end, right? And that's 4,500 pounds. So I'm not sure, how does that translate exactly to dollars? We've had a lot of shifting between 4,500 pounds to dollars. That's 5,500. Yeah, that sounds about right then. For the highest end one, I think that's fair. Okay, so Zephyrus M16. Let's go ahead and look that up. Get that on here. So M16 2023 390. There it is. Here's the sheet. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in here. So this list is going to keep getting better and better. And as we keep doing these live streams and improving this list, it'll get more and more detailed. The question is, where is this list going to end up being ultimately hosted? Is it going to be on Google Docs or is it going to be on Listium? And that's up to you guys, I think, for the most part. I mean, I'm going to decide one way or the other, and I'm not necessarily just going to take your guys' opinion as like whatever the poll is, but there is a poll on my community tab right here. If you guys want to take it, you can decide between this Listium style list or the Google Sheets. And I really appreciate you guys' feedback on that, okay? Because I want the list to be as usable as possible, user friendly, and you guys want to. I want to make it so you want to come back over and over, right? Curtain tying is 2,800 for the lowest end model. Yeah, I think the thing is, I'm not sure. I mean, that's obviously the older hardware, right? Newer hardware usually comes out and it's like hefty pricing. All right, so Zephyrus M16 build quality. I feel like it's a 7. Like, it's good, but I think Asus's design on the Zephyrus M16 and G16, G15, these laptops could be better. Like, it could be higher quality, like more rigid. It's not bad, it's good. It's above average, but it's not amazing. Thermal design. What did they have it rated as this year? We're dealing with 145 watt on it. I feel like thermal design is good, but I think it's like a 9.5 or 9 or something. I don't know. Display quality is going to be a 10 this year. It's a mini LED, I believe. So it should be 1,000 nits. So you can see it's a mini LED, 1,100 nits, QHD 240 hertz. So absolutely insane. And so let's go ahead and put that information in here. i9-13900H, RTX 4090 with 145 watts, I believe. Let me just make sure that the 4090 goes that high. Yeah, okay, so it's the same. And we've got QHD 165 hertz, 1,100 nits. So absolutely insane for the Zephyrus M16 overall. And I think the value on the M16 is probably a little bit better than these other 3, the Flow series, but it's still not great value because Asus hasn't been pricing that especially high value because you get an Intel CPU and it's gonna be expensive, I think, this year. So Zephyrus G14. This one's gonna be interesting. Zephyrus G14 4090. So this year, big update to the display, and they're taking it all the way up to an RTX 4090 with 125 watts. And you're getting an AMD CPU, which will help keep the price lower, which I really like that. I think it makes it more budget friendly. And so we got an RTX 4090, 125 watt. I'm not saying that you should get a 4090 in this because it's probably going to be very low value with a 4090 because it's a low TDP on the 4090. So, but like a 4070, maybe a 4080, but probably like a 4070 is going to be the sweet spot, I think, for value on the G14. And so there's going to be a wide range for the G14's value. If you get like a mid-range spec on it, it's going to be fantastic. A low-end spec will be all right. But the mid-range spec is probably going to be the best. And the high-end 4090 version of it is going to be like you're practically wasting money. Not quite wasting money, but like you're only getting a little more performance for your money is my guess. Build quality, it's probably like a 7 as well. Thermal design, it's incredible. 14 inches, 125 watt GPU. That's insane. Display quality, we're going to 9. Value for the money, I think this one's more like an 8. I don't know, a 7. It all depends on how you get it spec'd. It can be better or worse, depending on how you get spec it. So maybe I'll do like 6 to 8. So Zephyrus G15 this year is a bit different. 23, 40, 70, I don't know what. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure if Asus has released. We have the Zephyrus G16, but there's going to be a G15, according to Asus, there's going to be a G15 that's, I think, That or they're just replacing it with the G16. It could be they're just replacing. I need to double check it, but I know there's going to be a G16, obviously. So G16 is going to use the old chassis from the M16, so it'll be a 16:10 aspect ratio, and they're not even going to do an AMD processor in this G16. I thought, if I remember correctly, they're going to do a G15 with a Ryzen CPU and an RTX GPU, and that'll be more budget friendly or cheaper than the G16 or M16, but I could be wrong. That's just off the top of my head, trying to remember it. So, all right, so we're just going to relabel this to the G16. We got an i9-13900H, a 4070 120 watt. So it's not as high a wattage as the M16. And also notice that it does go up to a 4090. Oh, and it does go to 145. Okay. Wait, no, this is the G16. The G16 is just 100 plus 20, so 120, and it only goes up to the 4070 at the highest spec. So, yeah, that's... So 65 hertz should be 500 nits. And the G14 should also... So the G14 will be 500 to 600 nits, depending on how you get it. But it'll be up to 600 nits. I guess I'll just do that for now. All right, and our G16 link, we're going to put that in here. So this list hopefully is going to be a big resource right now for everyone to be able to figure out what laptop they should be looking at or consider buying. Build quality, Zephyrus G16. They didn't have it on hand, but it's basically going to be the same exact chassis as the M16, which I've had in hand. So we're going to give that a 7. Thermal design, we're going to give it a 8.5, I believe. Display quality gets a 9. Value should be a bit more value here than the M16. So we're going to give it a 7. So Strix G16. Asus Strix G16. This is going to be Asus's mid-range good value proposition for people. Not as expensive, but still high performance. It's still gonna be expensive though. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna be an expensive machine, and so this is gonna get up to the top end processors and up to a 4080. But if you want the 4090, you're gonna have to go with the SCAR 16 instead. So it's got a I don't think this features mini LED. Let's see if the display shows that it goes up to. It's just going to be the Nebula display, I believe. So 500 nits, yeah. So just 500 nits on the SCAR 16. So we're going to go right here. Or sorry, Strix G16. That's what I meant to say. I'll put this in here. For our build quality, I feel like the Strix series is a step up, I think, from the Zephyrus series. I'm going to give them an 8 on the build quality. Thermal design is really, really good this year. It's going to feature the same heat pipes as the SCAR 16 and even have, I believe, liquid conductinaut extreme on the Strix G16. So, I mean, it's going to be really, really good. Let me just double check that we have that. There's cooling. There's a section of cooling. Yeah, so there is conductinaut extreme, and I believe conductinaut extreme is only on the CPU. Okay, conductinaut extreme is applied to the GPU only with an RTX 4080. So you don't get conductinaut extreme unless you get the 4080 version. But you can get it on the GPU in certain models with the Strix G15 or G16. So absolutely phenomenal thermal design on the Strix G16. Display quality is a 9. value should be better than the Scar series. Yeah, I think it should be more like a 9 because you're getting the highest level of performance, and it'll be hopefully more reasonably-ish priced compared to the higher end models. But we haven't seen official pricing yet from Asus, so it's hard to say exactly. So Strix G18 is going to be very, very similar to the Scar 18 with a few changes. You don't get, like the Strix series, the G16 and G18, you don't get the swappable cap on the side, on the back of the chassis. So that's a downside. And then you can't get an RTX 4090. And the overall finish of the laptop's a bit different. And it doesn't have an RGB light bar along the back. So there's a few downsides to the Strix G16 and G18, but they're pretty minor for the average person. And I think that means it's going to be the go-to, I believe. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick check on chat and make sure I'm not missing anything here. See, 65 of you are on right now. It's wonderful to have everyone on the live stream. Thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. Okay. Wildfire says, I'm excited to upgrade finally, but man, it's tough year to upgrade because the quality of choice is fantastic. Yes, there's going to be a lot of great opportunities to get an amazing laptops, for sure. Sabisto says, I had a Scar 17 die because the liquid metal got somewhere it wasn't supposed to. Ooh, that sucks. But hopefully if that happens, hopefully it happens early. It's like usually I imagine most liquid metal applications would fail fairly early on in the ownership, which should be covered under warranty. But yeah, yeah. All right. Wildfire says, locking conducting on extreme behind a 4080 is annoying. Well, the reason why they did that is because the 4070, 4060, and 4050 don't need to go as high of TDP. So the cooling system can just keep them cool with regular thermal paste, no problem. So a 4080 needs to go up to 175 watts, which is 35 additional watts. And so to push that additional wattage in the same chassis, same heating system, and keep the temperature down, they're adding the upgraded cooling system. So does the G16 and G18 have the full heatsink along the back? Yes, they do. It's the same cooling system as the Scar 16 and 18. Which is the one with the 3D screen? I think it was the Helios 300. I want the one with the 3D screen everyone is freaking out about. Yeah, that was awesome. I did get to try the 3D screen. I'm going to make a video on it. I got hands-on with Asus's 3D Creator laptop, and then I also got to get hands-on with the Acer Predator Helios 300 with the spatial 3D screen. It's very cool. I highly recommend it. Okay. So for anyone that's just hopping on the live stream, I know a lot of you guys just hopped in. So I'm creating a list right now live on air. We're trying to put in links to all of the 2023 laptops. We're giving ratings on the laptops, different qualities, different aspects of the laptop. And then I'm going to be putting links to the videos I've made on all these laptops, and I'll be trying to make a video on each of these machines as I can. Hopefully, I'm trying to do like 1 or 2 a day, basically. But it's really hard to do live streams like this and make a video in the same day because it's a lot of work. But when I hire a video editor, it'll help. Okay, so Strix G18. Let's get the ratings on here. So build quality. I'm giving it an 8. I feel like an 8 is good. I don't know. I almost think like all of these Asus laptops should be bumped up 1 number, but I guess I got to get a feel for what I think about the thermal, or all these different numbers as we go. Thermal design's a 10. It looks like a fantastic thermally designed laptop. Display quality is again a 9 because it's got that 500 nits Nebula display. High value for your money. I believe it's going to be a really good option. So this has an i9 13980HX, or up to, right? Let me just make sure I got these specs right too. Yeah, 13980HX. So this should go 145 watt to 175 watt on the CPU. RTX 4080 should go up to 175 watts. And then we got a QHD 165 hertz 500 nits display. We got to make this thing a little wider still. Got an i9 1390. This is basically the exact same. So the specs, the performance specs should be identical to the SCAR 16 and 18, just with a cheaper chassis. So that basically Asus can sell the same technology to people that don't want to pay the premium price, right? So this is going to be the same for all four of these, to the best of my knowledge. Now for the build quality on the SCAR series, it just feels like a little bit more premium. So I'm going to give it an 8.5. I mean, it's good. It's really good build quality. I'm tempted to give it a 9. I'm tempted to bump all of these Asus ones up another number higher. But we'll decide. These numbers will all be adjustable as I go along, as I go through the different laptops, and maybe I'll decide to change it. So I really love the thermal design on the SCAR series. The display quality on the SCAR 16 is a fantastic 1000 nits display. And the SCAR 18, though, is not. I'll give it a 9. Value per dollar, we're probably not getting amazing value because of the premiumness. The premium features are going to cost some extra moolah on the SCAR series. So let's go ahead and get the links. Here's the SCAR 18. Let's go ahead and give the link for the SCAR 18. Oh, I did already. Okay, let's go and go to the SCAR 16 then. SCAR 16. Hi. What's going on? Okay, guys, hold on. I'll be right back. Something's going on with my dog. You fell over? Uh-oh. Are you okay, buddy? So Hero apparently threw up and then he fell over. This is Hero, everybody. I don't... What's going on, bud? Are you okay? Oh, yum. Okay, can you keep an eye on him? And if there's anything else, I'll have to go take him to the vet, I guess. Yeah. For now, he probably... Yeah, just, I'll just keep an eye on him. Okay. Yeah, I don't think... He's just throwing up is probably not that big a deal for now. Yeah. But if it gets worse, you want to come in here?
He was laying on the floor for 10 minutes. I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, poor Bubby. You gonna be good? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do the SCAR 16 link here. Okay, so let me check chat. What is your opinion on the new M16, the new Alienware M16? So let's pull it up and go through it. We can do that one next. M16. Let's see here. So does Dell have an official page for that yet? I haven't found... I haven't found an official page yet for the M16. Let me see if I can... I guess we might have to just look up some spec pages from some other reviewers here. So the M16 and M18... Hero keeps making hiccupy noises over there. So here's the specs on the Alienware M16 R1. I did get hands-on with this at CES. You've got 3 different display options. You've got a QHD, 240 hertz, 165 hertz, and a 1080p 480 hertz, which is kind of ridiculous. So they're going to offer an Intel version or a Ryzen 9 7949, which is their new 16 core CPU. That's really good. Intel UHD up to an RTX 4090 on it. So 175 watts. There's going to be a next gen Radeon GPU with the AMD model. I don't know. Those will probably only be mid range based on what AMD has released so far. The fact that you can get 4 M.2 slots in it is absolutely insane. I'm mixed on the M16. I don't think it's going to be a bad product. I think the tricky part is that Asus has just done a better job, I think, designing and cooling the laptops compared to the X16 or the X15 and X17 last year. So I'm not sure. I just have a bit of a sour taste in my mouth when I deal with Alienware right now. I love Alienware. I've owned several Alienware laptops, but yeah, I want to see these in hand and see how well they actually work to keep the laptop parts cool and can maintain solid performance before I'm like, yes, this is a definite buy. But based on these specs, it looks really good. I'm very curious about the price though, because that's the thing. For me, if it was like, if Alienware was undercutting the competition, very attractive. Also, I didn't have it so you guys could see the chat. So here's the stats on the Alienware M16. So sorry about that, guys. So here's some stats from the ultrabookreview.com, and I'll put a link on the sheet to this. But you can see you got 3 different display options. We got an i9 13980HX or a Ryzen 9 7945HX. So you got really good processor options, but the GPU is going to be RTX 4090 or a Radeon. So I'm going to go over this again real quick. The memory speed is only 4800, so not as fast, but at least they're 2 SODIMM slots, but you got 4 M.2 slots, which is insane. So yeah, mixed thoughts and feelings on the M16 and M18, but I think they're promising. I just want to see full performance and benchmark numbers for sure. Let me go ahead and put this in. Do I not have this on the list? I do. Okay. I can just copy this. Okay, so for build quality, I think we're looking at like a solid 8, I believe. Maybe a little higher. Maybe 8.5, maybe a 9. Thermal design, I think is probably a 9.5. I don't know, 9, somewhere in that range, like 9 to 9.5. They are using liquid metal, which is their element 31. I'm gonna give it a 9.5. This is again all theoretical based on the information we have. As far as the displays go on the M16, let's go back here. The display options are really varied, which I really like that. The thing is, they're only 300 nits on all of their options. None of their options go higher than that. They're 300 plus nits, which usually means like 325, 350. Because otherwise, if it was 500, they would be like 500 plus. Could be wrong, but that's why the display quality, I'm thinking, is probably like an 8. And for value, these are not great value, usually. Alienware typically are very expensive, so unless you can get them on sale or the coupon, then the value goes way up. So it kind of depends with Alienware, but I'm thinking they're probably like a 6 for the value. But I think the M16 and M18 are a step in the right direction for Alienware. They're known for being a bit thicker, high-powered laptops, and the X15 and X17, they were basically thinner, high-power laptops, but they were super hot and they weighed just as much. So why not make them a little bit thicker and not make them as hot, make them better thermally designed? I like the direction of the M16 and M18 that Alienware went. So I'm hoping that they can continue improving on it, iterating on it, and that this version will be great. Alienware has the worst quality control. I don't know about that, maybe. Zeus, quiet. You should get a minimum of 9. Yeah, no, I think the thermal design is not bad on the Alienware M16. Most likely, but we got to test it. It's a new design. So anyway, all right, so let's finish up Asus, and I think that we'll probably call that for the live stream for today. And we'll do these other ones on the next live stream for part 2, which will probably be tomorrow afternoon. That's my plan. So we'll keep working on this consistently, and we'll keep improving. I might even work on it off hours, but I'll probably want to do all of these laptops on air, so that way you guys kind of get an overview of every laptop that's coming out for 2023. It's going to be like an overview series of everything. So Asus TUF A16. I got my hands on the Asus TUF A16, and it was nice. It felt more premium than the previous Asus TUF books that I've had in hand. And it comes with some nice specs. I'm curious about what all the specs are going to look like, the different pricings, because right now, so this is basically last gen Ryzen. This is new gen, 7940HS, 7600S or 7700S, up to 120 watts for the 7700S. So not a super high wattage on that GPU, but it's a mid-range spec. This is going to be more of a high value laptop. It's amazing that Asus is giving all of these display stats, which I really love. They've got 100% sRGB on the cheaper full HD displays, 75% Adobe RGB. That's still pretty good. And they do offer a higher end 240 Hz QHD. So, but they all have a MUX switch and AMD Smart Access graphics, which I believe means on-the-fly GPU switching. So this one, though, is going to be delayed. It's not going to be in Q1. I believe it's going to be Q2, so that probably means June or May. And the build quality felt good. Like, it felt just as good as any gaming laptop that's like a budget one I've ever felt. Like, it's right in line, I think, with the Strix series. The thermal design, I don't think it's going to be as high on this one. Like, it's probably like an 8 or a 9. I don't know. We need to actually do tests. I'm going to put 8.5 question mark because it's only 120 watt. Display quality, we're going to have some large variability here. So probably between 7 and... I'd probably give that lower end screen a 7, maybe even a 6.5. Yeah, 6.5 to, and then the higher end screen is really nice. So that one's more like a 9. So we've got Ryzen 9 7940HS, RTX, no, not RTX, Radeon RX 7700S, I believe, 120 watt, and it's up to a QHD 165, 240 hertz. So, and then this one, yeah. So we got a good amount of variability, and the reason why they did that this year, with the TUF series is they wanted, I think, them to be like specable to be higher end, mid-range higher end, some premium features as options, and then you can still sell them also for like more budget oriented people with full HD displays and perhaps lower end GPU CPUs. So in terms of value, we're probably looking at more like a 9, probably. I'm guessing this maybe even be a 9 to, we haven't seen prices on this, but it's going to be, I'm going to give it 8 to 10 because it could be amazing pricing or meh pricing. So we don't really know on that one, but that one's definitely going to be one in the middle ground. Asus TUF F15, and we want the F15 2021 or 2023, sorry. Let's see if we can find it. There we go. All right. So this one has some really high-end options as well. So you can get this spec'd with all the way up to an i9. Let's see here. So this is, yeah, so you can get up to an i9 13900H. And for the GPU, only goes up to, let's see here, this is a 4070, this is a 4060. Let's see here, there's two more options here. So yeah, so 4070 is the highest. It's interesting that they have the i9 paired with the 4060, but I don't know. I'm guessing that's probably a typo. I don't know, because that'd be pretty weird to have the highest end processor be with the lower end GPU. So does it say the wattage on this GPU? It does. It goes up to 140 watts. So that's really good. And what are our display options for the TUF series this year? So full HD, 16:9 aspect ratio on the TUF F15. So that should help keep price down because those displays are going to be more common. And you can get with a QHD or a full HD. And it looks like this is 100% sRGB. This one's with 100% DCI-P3 color gamut. So the display variability on this one's going to be quite large. Because the higher end display is going to be really good. And then the middle level display is going to be just average-ish, you know? So, all right. So build quality on this one, I think it's more like a 7. Thermal design this year is much better than previous generations. I'm going to give it like an 8.5. It's not exceptional, I don't think, but it's going to be good enough to get at least the full performance of the 4070. Display quality is going to have a lot of variability. 6.5 to 9 again. Maybe even 6 to 8.5 because they're 16:9 aspect ratios. I'm going to give it a little extra bonus point for 16:10. The value is going to be very high on this one. It's going to be like, again, probably an 8 to 10, depending on the deal, but it should be very, very good, most likely. Now, someone mentioned an Asus Duo 16. I actually haven't looked into this one at all. Asus didn't have this on display for me to check out at CES, so I didn't get my hands on it. Ryzen 9 7945HX Duo 16 up to a 4090 with 165 watts. Really weird that they didn't put it up to 175 in my opinion. This one has the flap that goes up for the secondary display. That should give it more cooling potential. So interesting. And so up to a 4090 with 165 watts. What about the display? We got dual displays, obviously. Big display, little display. And is that a 16:10 aspect ratio display too? That's pretty sweet. It is 16:10. The additional display is a 14-inch IPS level. And it supports stylus. The secondary display also supports stylus now. That's pretty sweet. So you'll be able to use that for drawing and stuff. All right. Let's go ahead and do a little more diving into this. I love the idea of the new Ryzen 7945HX CPUs. I think I would rather get that CPU this year because of the better battery life. So we've got the 1100 nits display on this. That's really good. So the same display as like the Scar 16. So we've got a 10 on the display. I want to make this a freaking 11 because it's got 2 displays. All right, thermal design. I'm going to give it a 9.5 because of that. It doesn't have the max TDP on the 4090, which I think it should. Build quality, I'm not sure. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm assuming it's got great build quality. I haven't had it in person, but it should have good build quality. It's one of the Asus's top of the line. High value. It's not very high value, probably. It's going to be extremely expensive for the money. Probably like a 4. 4, maybe 5. Maybe give it a 5. Yeah. I gave the Scar series a 7 here. I should probably give it a 6. That's probably too high. All right, let me link that Duo. All right, let me see. All right. Is RTX 4080 laptop beat a RTX 3080 desktop? That's a great question. We'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised if it's competitive. It very well might beat it. I don't know. I don't think so, though. Maybe. It's going to depend on the game. If it has DLSS 3 in that game, it definitely will. But for general rasterization, like straight 3D rendering, probably not, but maybe. I have to actually look at the stats and actually have to test it to find out for sure. That's just my thoughts off the top of my head. Duo is a beast. First display with a mini LED last year. Oh, okay, nice. I didn't realize that. It'd be nice to see benchmarks on a 4090 with 175 watt TDP versus 165 versus 140 versus 125. That would be a great video. Good idea, Clark. Shestiv says, if you're talking about the gaming, okay. Consumer Tech Warehouse says it's got the best build quality the ROG makes, not Razer level, but good. Yeah, so, all right. So, like, I'll give it an 8.5 then on the Duo. Okay, so that concludes all of the Asus laptops. We're going to continue this list tomorrow in the next live stream. So be ready for that. I'm going to probably make some changes when I'm offline, like adding links to everything here. And so you guys can go look and watch videos about each of these laptops. And I'm going to continue expanding and growing this list and adding more info to it. And over time, as these laptops come up for sale, I will start adding pricing and also where you can buy it and other information, other key information. Like once we get benchmarks going, I'm going to basically turn this list into more like this, you know, where we have Time Spy and Cinebench R23 and maybe even price per dollar and other stuff in here. And I'll probably write my thoughts up in like a mini review. But again, I'm not sure if I'm going to use Google Sheets long term or if I'm going to go back over to Listium. So be sure, everyone, to go take the poll. It's linked in the description down below. And let me know what you think, whether you'd rather me use Google Sheets, Listium, or to maybe even create my own website where I put the list up as a separate web page, perhaps on my Gizmo Slip Tech website, which I do have. If you guys have never been there, I'll show it to you real quick. It's a basic website. I've put a few written reviews up here, but I could put that up to here as well. So I don't know. Let me know, not just in chat, but go take that poll. But yeah, those are my closing thoughts. You guys have anything in chat? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to continue the live stream sessions tomorrow, hopefully, tomorrow afternoon, if it all works out. That's my goal. So hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon to continue working on the list of all of the best 2023 gaming laptops ranked and everything. So maybe even do a general ranking for the laptop. Maybe we just got to do a rating out of 100. I don't know. We'll give it a ranking. We'll have this in here too. So we'll be able to just give it a, like, all features, everything put together in one number rating. We'll do that too. So it'll be pretty interesting. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining the live stream. Let me know future thoughts, what you want to see with the sheet. Open to feedback. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Brandon, out.